Hey, welcome to the Bored Room. I'm your CEO and host, Bagelmode. I'm joined by our CFO, Magic, our COO, Motorboat, who can't seem to settle on a name, and our miserable intern, Melly.
Hey.
I would like to point out that, so I told my mom about the fact of our company structure, and my mom went, "That is so sexist that you have the woman as the intern." And I said, I was like, "Mom, it's okay. She's only the intern because we hate her, and it's not because of the fact that she's a woman, it's because she's a terrible person."
I didn't want to say it when I first joined, but I was going to make the same comment.
Alright.
See, I never said anything because I knew it was because I was a terrible person.
Alright, we have a terrible show to you in which we talk about the games we've been playing, and we've got some fun news. What everybody pick a piece of news to just highlight and like
Ratchet and Clank is coming out!
we're gonna skip that piece of news entirely.
Sorry, screw you!
My piece of news that I'd like to highlight is BMW is having in-car purchases, microtransactions for cars.
What?
Wait, what?
You people need to read the news before we start.
I didn't even see that one.
Oh my god. Magic, what's your piece of news? I know I stole yours, but...
Oh, is he here?
I am here. I don't have news anymore. Alright guys, I have newsless.
Alright, Motorboat, you got any good news?
I posted Hyperscape last week. That looked pretty cool.
Ratchet and Clank, Ratchet and Clank, Ratchet and Clank.
Alright, this is when we'd roll the intro if we had an intro, but we don't have an intro, so we'll get started with what has everyone been playing this week. Let's not have Magic go first, because Magic went first last time. Let's have Motorboat go first, because Motorboat doesn't do anything different with his life.
Motorboat demoted in League this week and is very sad.
No.
Motorboat deserved that. For only playing League.
I would disagree. I played Valorant as well. It's a very two-game system at the
Oh
moment.
my gosh, child. Like...
I bought some new games this week.
That doesn't mean you played them. That's the problem. Like, we're not going to get to good discussion. It's, how'd you do in Valorant? Well, I clicked on some heads. How'd you do in League? Well, I didn't click as efficiently as I should have, and thus got my butt kicked.
Here, in my defense, I'm currently buying the games as we speak, and I will play them for next week.
How many games are in your library that you haven't touched?
I have an idea. Why don't you download those games now and play them as we are speaking?
No!
And record yourself playing them.
Oh my god.
I'm looking at the games in my life.
You haven't played Depth. You could play that with me, alright? I could carry you to level 100 if you wanted to sink 200 hours into a game.
Who wants to play Depth?
I think one of the problems we had with our first session... I think one of the problems we had with our first boardroom meeting is that we had people distracted.
Yep. That really shows when I was going through and I was like, oh man, I was not paying attention.
So I think we should definitely not have our intern be able to have access to the internet while we are doing the boardroom meeting.
Yeah, hang on. We need a quorum of boardroom members to ban the intern from internet privileges. And because you're an intern and you're not being paid, you don't get a vote. So all in favor, say aye.
What?
Aye.
This is a paid internship. What are you talking about?
Well, I guess I'm outvoted, so I'll just.
No, you're getting paid in college credit.
Screw you.
Also, Motor, you have Portal 2. You have one of the greatest games of the last decade, and you have not.
Look, man, Portal 1 is hard enough to get through.
I've played it before on the Xbox, though.
Did you beat it? No.
No. I got about halfway through it.
No. You should play Portal 2.
Okay.
Melly, just because you're very bad at puzzle games doesn't make it a bad game.
Look, alright. When I'm doing co-op with you, I am following your directions as you say them, alright? You cannot say that I am bad at following directions when you just say jump, alright?
That is a 2-minute twofer I need to cut together where I made the mistake of playing Portal 2 with Melly, and it was an exercise in so many different skills that are necessary.
Look, alright, playing with other people puts me under pressure. I can't think under pressure, alright? Playing Portal 1 all by myself, I got like what did you say? I was like 75% of the way through the game?
No. Hang on. You were 75% of the way through at most 2-hour game. It's like a 90-minute game, and you were getting stumped on the puzzles and going, man, this sucks.
No. I'm not talking about Portal 2 with you. I'm talking about Portal 1. You said that the point that I am at is like 75% of the way through the game.
I beat Portal 1 in 45 minutes.
Well, good for you.
You have 1.5 hours into Portal 1. You are...
Okay, do you know how much of that time I sat just like sitting around playing on my phone?
I also know what section you're at, and you're like, I'm just struggling too much with puzzles.
I don't need your back talk.
Alright. Actually, speaking of you being bad at video games, our intern, Melly, what did you play this week?
Fallout 4.
Did you... So, you're still doing not the railroad,
I have finally figured out what the difference between all the factions is. And
you didn't before?
I didn't know that there was a whole point of having different factions. I just knew that the Brotherhood of Steel was annoying to deal with within the first, 20 minutes that I was dealing with them. And the Minutemen, I have been dealing with them, and they're getting annoying because another settlement needs my help, another settlement is in trouble, like that kind of thing, over and over again. So I'm just ignoring that at this point.
Oh my gosh.
So I finally look back at the list of quests that I have yet to complete, because I just run around the map and just explore and die and kill stuff and explore some more, and sometimes I finish a quest. And I started the railroad faction.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to the railroad, and then they're like, hey, meet Deacon at the highway. And I still have to do that.
Is this because you don't know where the highway is? Like how you don't know where the door is? Or
Nope, it's because I got distracted following another quest.
The highway is literally like 50 feet above the ground, visible from all locations in a lot of the places on the map.
I realize that. However,
no, just for our members who have not played Fallout 4.
Yeah, I have no idea what the highway is. I've never played Fallout. I haven't played a Fallout
highway
game.
That's going through the map. It's pretty visible. And I fast travel to all of the locations I've been to before and run to new locations. And I just haven't bothered going to the highway. So.
Alright. Have you played anything else this week worth talking about?
No. Unless you count Maya, playing around in Photoshop, playing on my phone.
Are you doing anything worthwhile with Maya and Photoshop, or are you just...
I made a well. That was fun.
Have you made any ducks? Remember, don't ever think it. The ducks sure don't.
I hate you so much.
I love that video series. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there's a series called Lazy Tutorials where a dude makes animation tutorials, but he does it in the most, dumb and easy way possible. It's pretty funny, but whatever. Alright, CFO Magic, I think we're going to hear an essay from you, so let's hear it.
As I'm the only one who does my job, I guess I'll do it. So, I played the follow-up to my last game, Labryonia 1, with Labryonia 2. So, overall goods and bads. So, good things, I liked the fact that it used the same map as it occurred in the same world from the first game. Except, due to events from the previous game, the large portions of the map were changed. I guess I'll describe the plot so that different themes that were introduced make sense. Just so that our CEO has extra work, I'm going to say skip to this point in the video if you don't want spoilers.
Oh my god. No one is going to watch this content and hear you complain about Labryonia and then go, I should really play Labryonia.
Anyway, so in the previous game, in the previous game, when the healer was killed, the healer was the love interest of the main character. The main character is apparently a super powerful creation made by a bunch of wizards pretending to be gods.
What?
So when the love interest of the main character gets killed, he kills all the gods, except he doesn't. They actually fled, or some of them fled during the fight, and then gained control of a pendant which has ultimate power in the world. Because he was racked with grief and has a pendant filled with ultimate power, he turns the entire world into a frozen hellscape, and it's now roaming with shadow beasts that are nearly immortal to every attack except for light magic. And that's how you start the game, is in a frozen corner of the world where most encounters are impossible to fight. Speaking of impossible encounters where you can't fight them, because due to the name Labryonia, as you can expect,
It has labyrinths.
There's a lot of mazes. And a bad thing that was introduced is because they have invincible baddies. You basically you cannot go around them in some places. You literally have to go through the baddie, take damage, and then when you're prompted to run. So that basically means that you're taxed like up to 1,000 damage in a fight in the early game, which was not that great. So I'm gonna look to some comparisons between Labryonia 1 and Labryonia 2. The things that I liked was that the map no longer loops on himself in most places, which is really great, and the mazes have jumped very high in frequency, but they have also been made far easier than they were before. So they're not as rage-inducing. However, because things have been made, the mazes have been made far easier, and the maps don't loop on each other, for some reason, the exploration aspect of the game has taken a hit, and I'm not sure why. But now you don't need to explore as much in order to find new abilities, and which kind of took away one of the more interesting aspects, I thought, from the first game. Another thing that I'm not very happy about is they stripped the UI of many features, especially the ability to change the volume of the game, which was not very fun. Elemental damage types are still hard to tell what they are. When you first get an ability, if it doesn't specifically say this does wind damage or this does lightning damage, you kind of just assume, oh, it does its own type of damage. An example that I have is a move called Firebomb. You'd expect Firebomb to do fire damage. It does not do fire damage. I don't know what type of damage it does. I didn't use it the rest of the game. Speaking of abilities you don't use, you get really good abilities early on, and then pretty much never use other abilities for the main damage dealer of the party. So the main strategy typically ends up being the same, where you basically charge up for 5 turns, and then spam an attack that does 3 damage to every enemy on screen several times in a row, which basically is your win factor in most fights.
So question overall. Are you having fun?
Am I having fun? Excellent question. Fun is a variable term. It depends on the situation.
This sounds like a no, but carry on.
Did I have fun winning fights? Yes. Did I have fun overall? I could have had more fun doing other things, yes. Overall, I'd say this game, on a scale from grapefruit to orange, it's about a 5.
It's about a pear.
Unfortunately, there's a sequel to this game. I will not be playing it, at least in the immediate future. This might change if I feel really like torturing myself. It's got the sequel actually has some interesting ideas to it from what I've read in the reviews. very interesting to me is at least the ability to steal enemies' special moves if you kill them with a really, really weak attack. But it's also an 80-hour long game, so...
Isn't this also supposed to be an absurdly long game that you've managed to power through in a short amount of time?
Which game?
Labryonia 2, you said.
Oh, it's got... Supposedly it has 18 hours worth of content. And, this game I beat in 13 hours. With relatively high completion rate. I don't know my actual completion rate. However, yeah, I'll just go into my review of the sequel, why not? Based off of the reviews of other people. It's more of the same, except the world at the end was split into different worlds. And basically, the big problem and the reason why it's 80 hours long is because it's basically 4 different games, because every time you jump into a new world, you restart from the beginning.
Oh my gosh.
And then, supposedly at the very end, all of the characters you've built with all the stolen abilities come together and do a thing. But I don't really feel like restarting 4 times in a row and 80 hours of a game where I would be more than happy to play 80 hours of doing anything else.
So what is going to be your next game?
What is my next game? My next game that I'm going to be talking about is Graveyard Keeper, which I've been playing on the side.
And
I liked the game more than Labryonia 2. Isn't that what matters?
Is it any good, though, once again?
Is it any good? Well, you have to come back next week and find out.
We don't get anything on it?
You'll have to come back next week and find out.
Gosh. Okay.
If we revealed all of our information now, then what's the point of coming back next time for my long rants?
Because we could have long rants and possibly discussion now, but, you know. Oh well.
Are we all announcing the games we play next week as well?
I mean, well, I'm asking Magic because, you know, Magic has, you know,
I know my schedule.
himself with 2 games in a row that were probably longer than they needed to be from the sounds of it.
I'm downloading 5 different games as we speak.
Oh my gosh, child. All right. So I will talk about what I've been playing this week. So I've continued to play Half-Life. And after listening to what I was saying last week, it made it sound like I really hated Half-Life. I didn't hate Half-Life, okay? I'm liking it. The issue is it really shows its age. Like, the gunplay isn't very good in Half-Life, the original Half-Life, alright? I'm enjoying it most when I'm not shooting, alright? I'm enjoying it most when I'm just walking around, I'm solving puzzles, I'm learning about the world and whatnot. That is much more interesting and entertaining than you have to shoot these soldiers who their AI is coded so they can't move and shoot at the same time. Alright? Melly, you know you're muted in case you're trying to yell things at us.
I think she had a dog.
I think that's kind of weird because the only thing that I said was oof, like a second before you said that.
So I'm enjoying Half-Life, but like there's certain things like you have to going through the minefield was a very big low point for me because there's a helicopter with missiles and machine guns chasing you. There's no health packs. And there's enemies spawning, and you just want this to be over. And now I'm at a point where I just, like, pathing is something, like pacing, like, I don't know where to go next for what I'm supposed to do next, so I keep stalling, and it's just, I'm losing steam that way, but it's mostly because the game just doesn't care to tell you these things, or, like, it's just an old game, and it really shows. I also made the mistake of playing some Payday. What?
Payday 1 or Payday 2?
Payday 2. God, no one plays Payday 1. It's such a bad game. And Payday 2 has all of Payday 1 inside of it. So, I have to, because other players are the worst thing since forever, I only play with the bots. And It's just... It's weird having a game where I have 534 achievements in it, but I'm still less than 50% of the way through the achievements in it. Like, oh my gosh.
That's insane.
So, trying to work my way through it. I'm just playing with the bots because the bots are so much better than literally dealing with actual human beings. But most importantly this week, I have been playing Rebel Inc. Escalation. Right, that is what I was distracted by last week, I will admit.
What kind of game is that?
It is a game where you are in a country that has recently seen the end of a series of wars, and there are some mountains, and there's some lowlands, and there's some deserts, and there's some beautiful forests, and it's not Afghanistan, but it's probably Afghanistan. And like the game was heavily inspired by the events that occurred in Afghanistan, where you are the governor of a region, and you have to stabilize the region from insurgents. You have to make it so that people like you, so you have to pay for public services and whatnot. So like people need clean water, people need healthcare, people need education, people want jobs, people want roads, people want telecoms, people want generators, right? But you also have to manage the fact that, corruption is a thing, and like your corruption rises as your government expands. And you need a PR department to tell people, hey, these services are here and you can actually take advantage of them. They're free to use. And then you have to hire soldiers. But when you hire soldiers, that really increases your corruption. Or you could rely on coalition soldiers from places like the U.S. or whatever your coalition is. It doesn't specify, but it's probably the U.S. and some other good countries like that. I wouldn't say good countries. Some other countries like that. I wouldn't say the U.S. is a good country. Regardless.
Good at being in other countries.
Yes. All right. So you can borrow coalition soldiers, but if they get into combat too much, they have to go home. But you can extend that. But if you extend that, your reputation goes down, and when you run out of reputation, you lose the game. And I am right now working on a video essay where I talk about how it has a terrible tutorial. It is horrible. It does not. I played the game. I played the tutorial. I then played the game on normal. And I beat it, and I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And then I played the game on Brutal, which is the hard difficulty, and I spent about 4 hours bashing my head against the wall, trying to do anything, and nothing was clicking. It didn't make sense. I had to read a guide that was like 3 pages long on how to play the game, and then I finally started winning, but it's like, oh my god, it was such a pain. So I like Rebel Inc. Escalation once I learned how to play it, but the tutorial is absolutely horrendous, and it's just not enjoyable whatsoever. Until you read a 3-page guide, apparently. So, that is where much of my time has been getting sunk into. It's also a game where you have to grind for stuff. So, like, you are a governor, right, and there's a bunch of different governors. But you also can get advisors. So you can get someone that gets you more money. You can get someone that trains your troops faster, etc., etc. But you have to grind the game. You have to grind out the basic game in order to get those. And then there's a campaign mode where you can use those guys and whatnot. But you really want all of them unlocked. Otherwise, you get negatives if you don't have enough. And it's just... it's not fun. I'm losing my patience with the game in certain aspects, but...
So, if I'm not mistaken, it's by the same creators as Plague Inc.?
Yep, same dude.
So, Plague Inc. has taught, I think, all of us, except maybe you, a lot of information about diseases. What has this game taught you about, or some interesting things that you have learned from about what you're doing in that game?
So first, there's 2 parts of it. The first part is you need people to like you in order to win the game. All right, you need to give people food and water and like healthcare, otherwise they will hate you and you will lose the game because they hate you. You have to stabilize regions before you worry about the insurgents. That's I think one of the most interesting things of the game. The second most interesting thing is every now and then you'll get random events and whatnot, and you'll have to choose how to respond to them. And I think my favorite one has been local women have stated that soldiers have stopped them on the streets and have patted them down and almost groped them. How do you react? Do you side with the soldiers, which has a chance of off your Well, that's a swear jar. Do you side with the soldiers, which has the chance of angering your civilians, or do you side with civilians, which has a chance of getting angry which causes you to lose reputation possibly, or do you do an investigation? But the investigation takes a while and it costs a bunch of money. So I went through the investigation, and the investigation resolved with the women being patted down by soldiers did not realize that women could be soldiers and that they were being patted down by female soldiers. Now soldiers will remove their helmets when doing pat downs in order to ensure that there is no confusion. I thought that was interesting, where it's like, oh yeah, they wouldn't, like, in their mind, that's kind of like a man's thing, I guess. And so, like, that kind of basic understanding. But, like, it has been very interesting to play through the game like that. So, yeah. What else? So, but yeah, it's done by the same dude as Plague Inc. It's pretty solid, but it needs some work. All right. Anyone got anything else they want to talk about before we head on to the news?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't hear like half the stuff you said solely because I have construction going on right above me.
Well, you can watch it in the podcast. Well, you want to talk about the news then?
Yes.
All right. If we had an intro for the news, we would do it now. Does anyone want to talk about how Nintendo has halted the sale of digital download codes for its games through European retailers? You can only buy them now directly from the eShop. Does anyone care about this?
Is there a reason why?
Thing?
The first thing I posted: Nintendo halt sale of digital download codes for its games through European retailers. So you have to buy first-party games through the Nintendo store itself. It doesn't sound like the company didn't go into specifics, only saying that it had ended digital download code sales for its own published software and careful examination of our evolving European marketplace in recent years. You can still get third-party games from Nintendo from other places other than from physical stores in the EU, but not Nintendo itself. Not Nintendo party games. So you can't get Mario from EU game stores, but you can get
Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim. I was like, what games are on the Switch that aren't Nintendo games?
I mean, what's the point of like buying the code in store compared to like buying it online? Is it just more convenient?
I know the exact reason as to why this is important to certain consumers. As a child, I had no credit card. I could not buy games through digital means. I had to do physical means. That's why it was so important to be able to buy like $20 gift cards and whatnot. Valve has talked a lot about how they lose a ton of money by selling like $20, $50, and $100 Steam gift cards in stores at like GameStop and whatnot, but they do it because it helps give people a market. It helps expand their market a little bit, and really it just helps people get games.
Gotcha.
So
I didn't even think about that. So
yep, that was my immediate thing of this is a problem to those people, but otherwise I don't really see it being a problem. I wonder if you could. I wonder, does Nintendo have a kind of digital wallet in store? Does anyone here have a Switch? Actually, I should ask that question.
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, does Nintendo, is there like a Nintendo store that you can load money onto or no?
I haven't actually gone to use it all because we've just bought 2 cartridges for games, so
okay.
We haven't had to.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure you can. So, because you can go on and buy games, so I don't see why you would be able to.
Okay.
And there's also like
being able to go on and straight up buy games versus going on and like having like a wallet say like, hey, I want this account to have access to exactly $20.
Yep.
So my child can spend that $20 on whatever they want, but will not go over.
I'd have to check.
I don't know if this is using the same system but the Nintendo DS. I do know it had a system where if you spent less money than you paid for, you would have extra money on there.
Okay. So I bet that has been. Oh, it's so weird. Either way, it's weird. I can understand a bit why Nintendo would do that, because it'd be I wonder if they've had issues with stolen keys. I've never heard of anything like that, but that might be a thing.
I know that in general, people stealing keys is a very, not like popular, but is a very easy thing to do.
Yeah. So
I honestly would not be surprised if they've seen that it was so easy and just go, oh, I'm just gonna stop it before it becomes a huge problem, kind of thing.
Okay.
After Googling it, there is a way to have money.
Okay. So, all right. Does anyone want to talk about Fortnight leaving early access?
Okay, so my question about this: did you post this solely because you wanted to talk specifically about Fortnite leaving early access, or the fact that recently games in general have been staying in early access for so long?
We can do either. Like, I'd be happy to talk about either.
Early access, alpha versus beta, and like that kind of thing.
So like, do you want to like give a complaint or something, or otherwise we can just skip this one? I don't know. It sounds like
I don't understand why video games are. Yes, I do want to give a complaint. Bagel. No, because I haven't seen many games doing this, but I know that Fortnite is leaving early access. It has been open to the public basically for how many years now? So
hang on. It should be noted, Fortnite has 2 modes. The Battle Royale mode was just for craps and giggles.
No, I realize that, but like the single player, the Save the World is what it's called, right?
Yep.
That has been a thing
since May 2017.
Yeah, they released that 3 years ago. They were in early access for 3 years. And then also Rainbow Six Siege, their whole ranked system was still in alpha for 5 years before they finally said, okay, we're no longer in alpha. Like, we've got this, guys, don't worry. And like, I just don't understand it. Like, why take so long to say, yeah, this is the game, rather than just saying like, oh yeah, we're still in alpha. We're not done yet. Like, people expect there to be updates and stuff. If you change something in an update, that doesn't mean that, oh, it's now in beta. Like, I'm not saying this well, but like, Minecraft has had, it's Minecraft 1.8, or 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 1.10. They're not saying it's Minecraft Alpha.
Well, you say that, however, Minecraft was an alpha for 2 years.
Yep, and
was not an alpha, sorry, early access for 2 years.
It's also good to point out, do you know the game Subnautica? That was in early access for 4 years.
Like, I just feel like that's ridiculous to say that it's alpha for that long. I feel like a year to get everything, like, if they have it open to the public, like, where people can go in and buy the game and stuff like that, have there be some sort of time, like, be like, okay, for the first year and a half, maximum of 2 years, this is alpha or early access or whatever you want to call it.
I think part of it comes down to, especially games that are like trying out a new genre, or developers trying out a new genre, or like creating a whole new genre themselves. Mm-hmm. It can partially be like they don't want to fully commit to it. Because
gosh, that that's a scary precedent, because there's so many dead games on Steam early access because the developer just said, it's not working, we'll just abandon it, and That's a scary proposition in that term. Oh shoot, I'll talk about Subnautica a bit, and then I will come back to Melly's point, because I forgot the specific counter I had. But, so, for Subnautica, they said one of the... what do you think of a single-player experience like Subnautica, where they don't release the game, where it's a story-based game, and if you release it in early access... In 2014, and the game's story isn't done in 2016, what do you do? Do you just stop and be like, hey, it's complete, but it's not? Or do you say, hey, we're going to take more time for this and it's still in early access?
See, that doesn't make sense to me. That would be, they're releasing an incomplete game, but I would think that it would be hey, this is what we have so far, and say, like, this is the game, but we are constantly working on it. Here's an update.
I would say that is a terrible business model for consumers, where someone says they have a complete product, but they're like, we're still working on it, but we're done with early access. It's complete. Trust us.
Okay, think about how they released the first, or like Hitman. They release it in like little episode increments.
So that's episodic content. That's not early access content. That's different. Episodic content is where you take, basically, you build an engine structure and how everything works. You release something, and then later on you go, we're going to give you a little bit more because we had to take time to work on that, and so on and so forth. For that, you paid for each individual episode. For something like Subnautica, where it's just one chunk of a game and world, you don't want to... Well, you can get half of it right now at full price, and in 2 years, you can get the other half for another $10. Like, that's just... Ugh.
I mean,
so from my understanding of early access, it typically is like the game mechanics work. It's pretty much how they want it to be like, but they haven't finished the story is how it typically ends out.
Somewhat. So, like, think of a game like DayZ. DayZ was in early access forever. For a long list of
like Minecraft didn't really have any ending, and it was an early access for a while. Like Subnautica didn't really have an ending, but it was in early access for a while. Ark was under early access for a while, probably until they got an ending. It's just like the story comes second in a lot of these games.
Well, I think Subnautica had a story, if I recall correctly, during early development they had it. But one of the reasons they talked about, the reason they went with early access for Subnautica is because they were running out of money, and once they opened it up to early access, they basically had an infinite supply of money as long as they kept pushing updates. They kept having sales. And that kept the game going till its initial development, and then release, at which point they got a boatload of sales, which let them cool down for a bit, and then they could work on the next game, which was Subnautica Below Zero. Yeah. So,
I think that makes sense in terms of, like, if a company needs funds, then, like,
yeah,
it's
so,
only way
like,
the game can be released in some cases.
I'll be honest, I have no problem if a game is in early access for a long time, as long as it isn't in developmental hell. If it's not, like, shifting publishers and shifting development teams constantly, if it's just a pile of crap, then I have issues with the game being in early access for a long time. You need to, like, tell the community, hey, this game's kind of toast. You may not be getting what you're paying for. But, like, in terms of something like Subnautica or Ark, I think it's fine to, or even Fortnite. It's okay to be in early access for a long time. Like, yeah.
I feel like as long as there's clear communication from the developer, it's completely fine. Like, that's basically what it comes down to. Like, or even if you're gonna, like, abandon the game, do something for the community that's like offer money back maybe or something like that. I know it's not ideal for the company.
I don't think anybody's gonna be offering any money
I guarantee you that
back.
money has been spent. That money has been spent. You are stopping development because you have no money. You are in a telltale situation where you have no money and you cannot pay developers.
Or if it's partial, or if you're a big company that's developing a game and it falls through, like, or it just ends up being like complete shit, offer like a discount on something, or I don't know. But it's just in some cases, like when a game falls through, it's like, ah, yes, I spent $60 for this.
So, okay, what do you do?
Fallout 76.
So hang on, what do you do for a game like Artifact? Are you familiar with Artifact at all?
No, I'd have to look it up real quick.
So it was supposed to be Valve's basically Hearthstone game. Okay.
Okay.
They released it to the public, and I want to say late 2018, and it was a huge flop. All right.
Yeah.
It was everyone hated it as far as I can tell. All right. And a year later.
6 out of 10 on Steam.
What?
It's a 6 out of 10 on Steam.
Yeah, it's not great, all right? But a year later, a development team at Valve came together and said, "Hey, we're going to put Artifact back together from the ground up. Bear with us, community. It's going to take us some time, but we're going to make this a better game." What do you do then? Because if you declared the game abandoned back in April of 2019 when they stopped pushing updates for it, or whenever they did, I forget the specific days. If you declare the game abandoned, like you give out refunds and whatnot, you're preventing a potential experience of some kind. Like,
I guess that just comes down to a specific game in that case.
I feel like more often than not, early access is a lethal dosage to many games, and then it's only the ones that stay successful that end up going beyond it that are the ones that are well known. I don't know. I feel like our early access is a way for companies to get money during development, but like judging by the sheer quantity of early access games on like Steam, for instance, it turns out to more often than not just basically be a way for them to make any money off of an unfinished product.
So I'm going through my list of games, and I'm seeing a lot of early access indie titles, unsurprisingly, that have successfully fledged and gone. But those are the ones I play, of course. That's survivorship bias right there on its own. So
it's just the tip of an iceberg of things that haven't succeeded.
No. All right. I don't have anything more to really say here. We can skip forward. If anyone else has any closing arguments or whatnot, I would also mention we are 42 minutes into this episode. What?
Nothing.
I agree. I fully and full-heartedly agree.
All right, Hyperscape. I will Oh wait, maybe I did watch this video. Hang on.
I'll be honest. I don't like fast-paced. Team deathmatch games.
Here's my prediction: either dead on arrival or dead within 6 months.
I'm sorry, for which one?
Hyperscape. This is something Motorboat posted. It looks like a generic shooter with just.
I feel like it'll do the same as Apex, basically.
I think it'll do worse than Apex, because
really?
I think Apex has had the advantage of they had nailed the Titanfall gameplay, and then they turned it into a battle royale game, and it worked really, really well. And then I think this is going to flop horrendously. Like what was it, Unreal Tournament or something that just horribly flopped. That was it almost looked like this, where it's like a fast-paced shooter when you're hopping around a bunch, and it just did terribly.
The only thing that makes me a little bit more confident in this one is, and the thing about Apex was you had a lot of people at the time caught up in Fortnite hype, because that's like when Fortnite was super huge, that didn't want to play the, like, I don't want to say Fortnite's very childish, but it's very childish in terms of like the animation, the gameplay, and honestly you run into a lot of kids in it as well. It's if you're like just solo queuing it and going for teams and whatnot. And I think Apex kind of appealed to a lot of people who wanted a more serious looking game, or like a cooler game. And I know that's why I picked up Apex. Like, my friends were playing Fortnite, I was like, see ya, I'll I'm gonna go play Apex on my own. Like,
So out of curiosity, what is the appeal of Apex versus something like PUBG? Because PUBG was the original one. Fortnite came along. What was?
I feel like Apex was right in between PUBG and Fortnite, where like it still had like obviously not realistic textures, but like it definitely had those harder aesthetics to it. But you still had like you can fall from great heights, and like there's different abilities that your character has.
PUBG is also just extremely hard on computers.
Yeah, because it's an Arma mod, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
It's just
you can run into a lot of issues with the game in terms of lag or that kind of stuff.
Other reason I think this is dead on arrival, you have 300,000 views on the trailer.
That's fair. I'd understand that. I hadn't even heard about it until...
So what I'm hearing is basically it's going to get a niche market, and it's really up to the players as to how long it remains relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Deathloop. I really don't. It looks like Dishonored. The gameplay trailer has very little gameplay of what the Deathloop is supposed to be. I don't care really about it.
I was gonna say, to me, it depends. Like, this could be a great game or a absolutely terrible game.
Good catch.
Thanks. I try. No, because like it could be a fun like survive, like figuring out, okay, this works, this doesn't work, and this I can change at this point, and like that kind of thing. Like, if it is what I have gotten from it, you start at a point and you make your way through a level. And every time you die on that level, you restart.
Is this not just respawning at a checkpoint?
From what I got from this, it sort of is, but I would say that it would be a much more, not like a much more difficult restart, but there would be less options, like less ways to get through a level, and like once you find something that works, you don't restart like, oh, I found this path works to get this far into the map. Basically, you can't quick save at that point and then go from that point. I would say that no, it starts at the very first map, and you are stuck on that map for like a good majority of the game.
That sounds miserable. Like, it sounds like you're trying to speedrun a game and you are just getting your butt kicked again and again and again. That sounds like a miserable experience. We need to see more gameplay. I think that the trailer was terrible because it showed no gameplay. All right. Yeah. Much more interesting story. BMW is going to give
Ratchet and Clank.
No one cares about that. BMW is...
Ratchet and Clank is a great game. Alright, I am super excited for this because I wasn't able to play the re-release on PS4. The problem is that I think it said it's only coming out on PS5.
Yep. Also, it's a pre-rendered trailer. Who cares? There's no gameplay.
I don't care. It's Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank is amazing.
You are what's wrong, and you are what's holding back good quality games.
So, are you gonna buy a PS5 just for Ratchet and Clank then?
I will. I absolutely will.
You are disgusting.
And because I've played PlayStation my whole life, so.
Have you seen the price point on the PS5?
Oh, did they come out with it?
I thought I saw something. Let me look it up real quick.
Oh gosh, because that would be huge. I'd love to see the PS5 price on that, and
I'm guessing $700.
Rumored price. So no, nothing yet, of course.
Analyst predictions have put it at $500.
Is that the disc drive or discless one?
It does not say.
Okay. All right. I think this will be a much more interesting conversation. Also, we're at 50 minutes. Cripes. BMW has in-car microtransactions. Yep. They're going to do things where you can subscribe to heated seats.
Isn't that something you just buy at the beginning with your car?
Well, no. Your car will have all this stuff installed in advance, and then you have to pay for it to be activated.
Is it like monthly subscription, or is it one-time pay?
Monthly subscription.
Will this lower the price of the vehicle?
That people are just gonna get these cars because they have all the accessories. They're going to chop it apart, take out whatever is the like restrictor or whatever that's like, no, this person's not subscribing, they can't do it, and just turn it on, reassemble the car.
So that will probably void your warranty.
I do not care if people are going to do it.
All right, and the other thing is, technically, if you basically hacked your BMW to get this stuff, it could have negative it could be some weird, you could have some bug that causes some weird problem. So, I don't know why they're doing this. It just seems stupid. It's also worth noting that Tesla's already done this. In the past, it would ship battery packs in cars that had their range limited by software, and you had to pay a fee to unlock the full capacity of your car. Like...
Was that like an advertised thing?
What, for Tesla?
Yeah.
It wasn't really advertised, but like...
Or not like advertised, but like...
It was a thing, yeah. If you were the kind of person buying a $60,000 car, like most Tesla owners were back in the day, yes, this was the thing you had to deal with. And
I know, but were you aware that that was something that you would have to deal with?
Yep.
Like, did they tell you, hey, you're buying this car before you buy it? Here.
I believe it was they made a single model, you got that model, and then you got the full batteries in it, and you had to pay a thing to get access to all the batteries. Otherwise, you just had the batteries. Just sitting in there taking up weight and space.
So, I want to know if this is another move where... Because the problem is that, well, like we talked about last time, you don't technically own the video games you own if you don't own a physical copy of it.
Yep.
Do you physically own your car, if in this case?
Apparently not.
Like, what happens if you get a replacement part, but it isn't, like, the replacement part that they want you to get?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
And also, heated seats, why would you not make them? Heated seats to me feels like a necessary feature in some parts of this country.
What? What? No, they are a luxury
seats is not
item.
necessary at all.
They are
Actually,
100% a luxury
okay.
item. Oh my gosh. Shoot, man, I'd love free heat. I'd like heated seats to be a human right. Oh man.
I think at this point, the only thing that used to be considered a luxury is that it's now like basically standard is like electric windows.
Backup cams.
Yeah.
Backup cams used to
be... A lot of safety functions are becoming more standard.
I find it so weird that stuff like auto stopping and whatnot. Oh, that's an extra feature. You have to pay for that. Like...
Really?
Like... Oh yeah. My mom got a car 3 years ago, and she had to specifically buy one of the higher end models in order to get the auto braking feature.
Auto brake or auto stop?
Auto stop, whatever. So I've used it before where
where the car shuts off basically, except for like when you come to a stop.
No. So what it is? So I have used it where the cruise control in the car, detects how far the car in front of it is, and it adjusts the speed based off of that. If the car in front of you stops, your car will stop with it. It will put the brakes on, and it will come to a stop before you get into a crash.
Gotcha.
So, another thing that I'm confused by is like...
I thought you were talking about like the auto stop, the engine.
No.
Turning off.
So, apparently, at least with the Tesla stuff, according to at least some of the people who are speaking on here, is that it was mostly just software updates and like small things like that would get you slightly higher ability. Most of the microtransactions were things like that would get you slightly better performance out of your vehicle. But however, there was also a case where a person bought a Tesla from somebody else.
Yep.
And Tesla tried to cancel everything that the previous person had bought because they believed that that person hadn't paid Tesla anything. And the only reason they stopped was because of internet outrage.
So Tesla states that the person... what it was is they turned off autopilot on the dude's car. And what Tesla states is the first dude who bought the car wasn't supposed to get autopilot. That is what they are claiming. This is where I need Red Leader to be shouting allegedly at me over and over again.
I mean, I can get a picture of the shirt, but you know.
You're awful. I am not thrilled that microtransactions are totally coming to cars. Like, I mean, there is already.
I wouldn't be super against it if it made cars significantly cheaper. But my guess is it won't do it at all.
No. It's going to be, how can we get more money out of this? But, alright, UK, House of Lords says that loot box call for immediate gambling regulation. Cool, we'll skip that one. This one's way more interesting. PS5 and Series X versions of NBA 2K21 are $70. And it's very likely that all other games coming to the PS5 and Series X, this is a stupid name, are going to be $70.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, with all the, games have stayed at such a stagnant price for so long.
Oh yeah.
It makes sense that, they should have been going up for a while.
Out of curiosity, does anyone dissent to this being a good thing or needed thing or whatnot?
I dissent to it being NBA 2K21.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, but the only thing that they changed was the faces on the people.
That is an issue with sports games. That's why I will never purchase sports games. But
well, that's the good thing about sports games, though, is you only need to buy one, and it's all the same.
Well, if I recall correctly, one of the reasons the hockey games didn't come to PC after such a long time is because the modding community for one of the hockey games just kept rolling patches out for every single year, so it just made it so their sales got cut.
Hey, Melly, what if I want to try the new gambling feature on the newest game, huh?
There's mods for that, bro. What is your name?
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to beep that one too. Beautiful.
Look, alright.
Just pull up
If
Discord.
I didn't know you personally, for example, Motorboat.
At the side of the screen, it says there. My name is highlighted even.
Discord isn't up.
This is why I have Discord up though, so I can pause and go, who am I supposed to call you?
Melly, what on
Melly's
earth
on the
could you
internet.
possibly be doing other than looking at the Discord screen?
Yeah.
She's on the internet. She's on the internet.
Searching Google for an allegedly t-shirt and posting the picture to the voice channel.
Melly, in-game right now.
I am not.
You're not, I know. That's because you're hiding all that. So there's a bunch of TV shows coming out. Halo TV show, The Last of Us TV show, Fallout TV show, Cyberpunk 2077 anime, Cuphead show.
Wait. What?
Cyberpunk 2077 anime on Netflix.
I have low hopes for all of these.
Interested, but very low hopes. Cuphead, dumb. Not so dumb. It's a cartoon. It's fine.
Has anyone here seen the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, out of curiosity?
No.
I could go grab a a special guest who has seen it.
Please invite our very first independent contractor onto the show.
Alright, give me. Do you want me to just give him my headset, or should I tell him to get on?
Give him your headset.
Alright, I'll be right back.
We will call them Motorboat 2.
No, his name is Modify.
Modify, awesome.
Yeah. Oh god. This was a mistake.
Everything you do is a mistake.
Have you guys seen the Detective Pikachu movie? Because both of you seem like people.
Yeah.
Was it any good?
Yes, I loved it.
Hang on, I don't trust your opinion whatsoever. Magic, was it any good?
It definitely was hokey, but it was the right kind of hokey.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
See,
don't
my
you remember me
my
saying
trepidation comes from the fact that, okay, not just in the past, but just like conversions of things from other things in general has been terrible recently. So my hopes are low on that sense already.
All right, we have are we speaking to Modify right now or no?
No, he is apparently out at my aunt's house getting firewood. So.
Oh. What is he doing? Playing Stardew Valley in real life?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, so
have you seen Detective Pikachu Motorboat?
Yes, I have.
What is your opinion of that? Because I don't trust Melly's.
What was her opinion?
What do you think it was?
it was a great movie.
It was actually good.
Okay.
I give that
Thank
movie
you.
credit.
Has anyone seen any other video game to movie or TV adaptations?
Not including
Lego
like the
Batman.
Pokemon series.
Great movie.
Lego Batman wasn't a video game. Was it? It's not supposed to be a video game. It's supposed to be a spin-off
is a
of
video game.
It's supposed to be a spin-off of the Lego movie, but you know.
No duh. But
Listen,
Lego
all right,
Batman is still a video game.
until there are more good video game to live action representation of video games that are good, the stigma will remain.
Tomb Raider.
Get out of here.
Resident Evil.
That's another really poor example, if I recall correctly.
Those are great movies.
You have no taste as well, but
Every movie I have ever seen is a good movie. How dare you?
I think one of the things Detective Pikachu has going for it, though, is like that's one of the biggest video game franchises of all time.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's good. Also, Pokemon has the advantage of having a decent anime already standing behind it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
it also
sure,
has.
I guess, but also an interesting thing is the fact that I like the fact that they apparently the Pokemon community, had enough of an impact on the company in that one instance. There's a illustrator who draws realistic Pokemon, and apparently they were actually called into the team because they'd been drawing realistic Pokemon for years and was called in to put on Insight.
I love the fact that the blue things on Mr. Mime's head was not hair. I love it. I love it because it was in the Pokédex that it's not hair, that it's just a blue, what is not appendage, but just like it was just like a growth or whatever. It's amazing. I love it.
I think another thing that helped is it also had like big names in it, like big name actors like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but just because you have famous actors does not make it a good movie.
Have you seen the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie?
Alright.
Great movie. Yes, I have.
And I'm not surprised.
Now you're a little suspect.
Once again, you're not as bad as Motors and I's former roommate, who was really good at League of Legends. He had no taste whatsoever. Oh my gosh.
You mean Magic? And yours?
Oh god, Magic and mine. Shoot, I'm so sorry.
I was gonna say we only lived in the
We've only lived together at summer camps in tents. Mostly while not in clothing. But
Yes.
I mean, obviously.
all right. Do we have anything else we would like to talk about, or are we gonna end the episode there?
Can we talk about how stupid that controller looks?
That controller is so stupid.
So
do you like it?
No. I got rid of it because I figured we wouldn't talk about it because it looked so dumb it didn't look worth talking about.
It looks so stupid. Like, I love it, but it looks so stupid.
So
Yeah,
okay,
I like the concept of it, but I hate the fact that. All right, I'm looking at my controller, and I'm like, how would you hold it?
So hang on. Here's my question to you. Has anyone played on the Wii Pro controller? What was it? It was the Wii. There was the controller from the Wii that looked like
Classic. Wii Classic.
Wii Classic.
controller.
That's what it's called. Has anyone played on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. A long time ago, but yes.
Was it terrible? I never got to play on one, honestly. I always had GameCube controllers, which are so much better, but...
I mean, it was alright. It just doesn't sit in your hand as well. Like, the other ones just have so much, I don't know, I feel like it fits your hand better. You can hold on to it tighter.
My problem with this is that it's going to be top heavy.
Well, yeah, with the screen on it, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like if you don't have things made for your wrists, or sorry, not your wrist, your palm to hold, you're going to have it be very hard to keep control of it in your fingers.
It's going to be a lot of stress on your wrist, right where your thumb meets the base of your wrist. That is where all of the tension is going to be in your hands.
So
it looks so dumb though and so cute.
I think it's a great concept, but not a great execution.
So hang on.
I think the thing that I like about this though is that it's an Xbox controller with the PlayStation locations for the the sticks.
So hang on. I'm about to post in voice this image. All right, this is the Asus ROG gaming phone, okay? And look as to how they manage a basically controller on it.
That's fine, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Because that's basically
the problem is it's because of the way that it's been arranged.
Yep.
It's super top heavy and not really well planned out. This looks like it would be uncomfortable initially, but something you get used to as time goes on.
Also, everyone did see the one where the dude's holding the controller to give a sense of how big it is, right?
No.
Scroll down in the article to see that. It's the second image of the article.
Yeah, that seems way too big.
Also, I want to know what phone they're supposed to be using as an example.
That looks like a huge phone.
It
really does.
It's what everyone thought the iPhone 8 would be after the iPhone 5 came out.
I have an issue with the fact that phones are getting so big right now, though.
I wish I had my iPhone 5 back.
Like, now, I have the Samsung Galaxy S10e or whatever it is, and it could be, like, a half an inch shorter. Like, it's too much, because I am a woman who has womanly hands.
My gosh, this changes
yes,
everything.
I know. Have you noticed that yet? I am a woman. I have itty bitty woman hands. Itty bitty. Not really. My hands are like averagely large for a woman.
They say about people with small hands.
If the I hate you so much.
Big gloves.
If the phone is too big for my hands as a girl, they're gonna be that much worse for so many of my female friends that I know who have tiny hands. Like, I understand why. Like, there was some stupid statistic that I was looking at that's like women drop their phones more often or something like that, and like the dude was trying to say, yeah, it's because they're a klutz or something, and it's like, no, it's because we have small hands and our phones are too big. Stupid.
And on that note, I think we will end this episode of the Bored Room. Thank you for coming to our boardroom. It's a shame we couldn't get an independent contractor on. We'll do our best to get one on next week.
I would like to petition to become a receptionist instead of an intern.
You will be an intern always and forever. Next episode we may...
I would like to end this episode by saying thank you and you. Oh no, I thought you set my position to janitor. Sorry, Motorboat. I jumped out at you. I apologize for that.
It's all good.
And with that, I will end the episode. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Screw 'em.